Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jared.
My name is Fabiana.
And we're here with you on behalf of Prepped with RBC. So as I said, I'm Jared. I'm a branch manager at RBC on campus at Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Ontario.
I am the branch manager for the RBC on campus located in the University of Guelph, in Guelph, Ontario, Canada.
So today we are here with you to talk about a topic that kind of touches everyone in one shape or another. Everyone's favorite B word, budgeting. So we're going to do Budgeting 101 today with you, go through a bunch of topics, really so that you are walking away feeling more comfortable, more confident in money management, and demystifying some of those things that come around with Budgeting 101. Fabiana, do you want to tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. So welcome everyone. As Jared said, my name is Fabiana. I'm actually a geography major. So who knew it? Geography to banking. No background in the business or finance, but that's the direction that I took. And through that journey, I learned a lot about finance myself. And now that's what I love to do, is empower youth and others on the basics of finance so that you guys are empowered with the tools that you need so you can feel confident when it comes to managing your money. Also a huge fan of traveling.
Nice.
I am a foodie. I love food. I'm Italian. What Italian doesn't love food? I married a Greek man, my husband, that I met here at University of Guelph, and we got married in Greece. So it was all about the traveling, the food, and the family. So yeah, love it. And now we're saving up for our next adventure, which might be Greece, might be another place in Europe. We haven't decided yet.
Nice. I was going to say, where are you going? But you're going to Greece. Nice.
Potentially going to Greece. We'll see.
That's one of my bucket lists. I haven't been to Greece yet. I've been very fortunate that I've traveled a fair bit. I'm an avid traveler myself. I am an avid dog fan. I've got 3 dogs at home, 3 little rescues, little guys and girls. I love them. So yeah, I love to travel. I love music. I love food. I'm a foodie myself. Love to cook. One day I also hope to visit Peru. I want to get my Machu Picchu on and really explore some of those ancient ruins, which is cool. I also love helping people with finance. I work at Wilfrid Laurier University, and we meet lots of students, and we have conversations like this all the time. So I started off working in a more traditional branch, and now transitioned into working on campus with lots of young people. So again, welcome everyone. I hope that you're going to walk away from this session. We hope you're going to walk away from this session feeling more comfortable and confident talking about your budget. So today, our goals for you. What is a budget? We're going to talk a little bit about that. What money is. And I know that kind of sounds like an interesting concept, but
we look different to different people.
Yeah, and Fabiana and I both have a budget, right?
Yes,
so
we do.
we're gonna talk about what money can be used for, how you can create your own budget. So this is actually this is an exercise that you'll be constantly doing. You're gonna have that raise, you're gonna have a dip in income, you're gonna, get a new job, whatever that looks like for you. So you're constantly revisiting and reviewing your budget. And for those of you who are students, how can you save money while you're in school? I know you have a great story about some people out in the world, lots of money, being frugal with money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are true stories, guys. I'm going to tell you about somebody called Sharon Terabassi. You can actually look her up online. So Sharon Terabassi, she lives in Hamilton, Ontario, and she had her 9-to-5 job. She took the bus, regular person, just like everybody else, until one day she won the lottery. Who here would always say, I wish I could only win the lottery? We all want to win the lottery. And we always say that our problems will go away if we win the lottery. And that's exactly what Sharon thought. So she quit her job, stopped taking the bus. She bought multiple homes. She gave money to friends and family. She went on fancy trips. She bought fancy purses and clothes. And by the time she was done, in 9 years, she went through $10.5 million. That's a lot of money.
That's pretty happy. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. So Sharon is back on the bus. She is back at her old job. And funny enough, when they interviewed Sharon, they said, were you more stressed out when you had the money, or were you more stressed out when you didn't have the money? And she actually said she was more stressed when she had the money. And the reason being, and the reason being was that Sharon didn't know how to manage it. So it was very stressful for her. And I know that sometimes we can all feel really stressed out when it comes to our money. We don't have that budget in place to help us manage it. It can really be stressful. On the flip side, you can look up Sean Cooper. So Sean Cooper, 27-year-old young man who lives in Toronto. For any of you who doesn't know, Toronto can be quite expensive. Mortgages are quite high. Here in Canada, mortgages can go anywhere. You have to pay them off 25 to 30 years. Sean was 27 years old, and he had a mortgage of $250,000. So that's $250,000. And he wanted it paid in 3 years. 3 years. Which is incredible.
That's crazy.
So what he did, and we're not saying you got to be a Sean Cooper, but he literally rented out the prime real estate of his house, which was all the top portion. He lived in the basement. He had 3 jobs. He walked everywhere. He prepared his own meals. He sacrificed social. And in 3 years, he actually achieved his goal.
Okay, so maybe I need to revisit my goals.
So the whole point of these examples are, we're not saying you have to be a Sean Cooper or you have to be a Sharon Terabassi, but in the end, it's really not about how much money you have. It's about how well you manage it.
It's what you do with it.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And today we are going to give you the tools and skills so that you guys can manage your money and set you up for success.
And you use a good analogy that I really like with if you'll
yes,
share.
I'll share. So I want you guys, in order to visualize this, what really is important when it comes to a budget. A lot of people go, yeah, budget, and they kind of put it off. But to be honest with you guys, if there's any advice that Jared and I can give you and any banking advisor should give you, is that the budget is the foundation of your financial house, okay? So we all know if you don't have a strong foundation, the house she's a coming down, right? Okay, yeah. So you see my Italian accent just came out there. So the house she's a coming down. So the house is going to come down if we don't have that strong foundation. So you really, really want to take time. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your partner. If you're sharing those finances, if you're bringing in those finances and those expenditures, you really want to take the time to set yourself up for success. Because if that foundation is strong, you guys can build as high and as wide and as beautiful as you want. But that foundation's got to be in place.
And that's the budget.
And that's your budget.
And we actually did a survey in a session like this where we asked people, do you know what a budget is?
Yes.
And our respondents, 93% said they knew what a budget was. So if you're not quite sure what that budget is, that's okay. We're kind of going to dip into that very shortly. 93%. So we had some really good respondents on a poll that we did. So let's take a quick peek here. Fabiana, why don't you kick us off with the budgeting, and we'll start from the beginning.
Okay, so some of you might be wondering what a budget is. It's a tool that helps you track your money and manage your money. So that means you need to know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, how much money you can actually spend once you've figured out what that in and out looks like, and then how much money you can save in any given week or month. So whatever's left over that you can actually put towards savings. And something that Jared and I always say is really important is being able to pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first.
So that you guys can save for those emergencies or those goals, but always being able to have that safety net.
And then we did a second poll. So we asked, have you ever created your own budget? 61%. So 61% of our respondents said, I've created my own budget. Little bit of work to do. That's okay. We want people to be comfortable and confident when tackling these things, or identifying these new concepts, because maybe this is new for you, and that's okay. So 61%.
You gotta start somewhere, guys.
Start somewhere. And this is when we start talking about needs and wants, and within budget and over budget. If you want to get us into that.
Yes, let's talk about that. So typically, when you guys are within your budget, that really means that you're going to have less stress. You're going to have that handle on your financial situation. You're going to be able to prioritize what money goes towards the needs, the things that are really your non-negotiables, like your rent and your food and whatnot, and be able to make those decisions properly when it comes to those wants. It's also going to help you stay focused, right? It's going to help you manage that money and be able to stay within those frames that you have allocated for those different pockets of money, whether that's something that you want or something that you need. And it's also going to really help you keep on track so that you can reach those financial goals. Like Jared and I said, we wanted to go traveling. We can't do that unless we make sure that we are putting the things in place in order to reach those financial needs and wants. Before I get into the over budgeting, you heard me kind of talk about how stress can play a huge factor when it comes to not being able to have a budget in place. So I just wanted Jared to kind of share with you all a tool that can really help you when it comes to figuring out what that is and how that relates to our emotions.
Yeah, so RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, actually created something to help you with your budgeting. And it's an app, it's called Well Spent. And I kind of like to refer to it as a tool that's like emotional budgeting. So you log in with your online banking credentials, it's a secure app, and it starts watching what you're purchasing. So it'll categorize the stuff into dining out or shopping or clothes or bill, whatever. And you actually have to rate each and every single purchase you make. So whether you felt good about it, whether you felt bad about it, or you're kind of neutral, and you'll get a report at the end, and it says, Jared, you felt bad about 35% of your, purchase, your expenses. You got some work to do, right? So Well Spent. Feel free to try it if that's available in the country that you're tuning in from. It's a great app to put the emotion into the budgeting and saying, like, okay, did I really feel great about that? I don't know, Starbucks purchase. I don't drink coffee, so I can use that as an example. But did I feel great about that Starbucks purchase, or did I feel good about dining out, or did I feel good about the groceries? Yeah, I feel good about groceries. I'm making my own food, right? Foodies. Yeah. And then people are going over budget. Maybe you have more stress. You don't have that handle on your financial situation. Are you at a risk of overspending, right? Are you dipping into the negative maybe when maybe you shouldn't be? Going into unnecessary debt, unnecessary and expensive bank fees. So are you bouncing those checks, or those payments not successfully going through because kind of haven't done that planning right from the start? Identifying your needs and your wants. That's sort of how you can start to frame those into those two buckets, right? So that takes us into, where does my money come from? And we go into this a lot with students, but this kind of applies to everyone. That's your income. We call money coming in is your income. I know that sounds basic, but that's a term that we use in talking about your budget is your income and your expenses. So where does your money come from? So sometimes that's going to be full or part-time work. Sometimes that is going to be gifts, like a check for your birthday.
Allowance. It could be allowance. Maybe some of you guys are still getting allowance.
Helping out at home.
Maybe it's a babysitting job you're doing.
Investments. Maybe I'm fortunate enough to have an investment that's doing really well and earning me some money, and I get a bit of income from it. Friends who owe you money, so we went to dinner and I picked up the tab, and maybe you're gonna send me money.
I owe them half that money.
Yeah. Government. So those of you who are in school, maybe you're doing a government loan. Maybe that's a source of income for you. You're going to allocate that money for your school, for your books, for your rent, for your this, for your that. So whether it's a one-time deposit like a government loan for school, or a regular occurrence like a paycheck, unexpected surprise birthday money, whatever that looks like to you, the totals of all of these form your income. So that's where we say that's where your money comes from. So again, full-time, part-time income, gig economy. So where I'm located in Waterloo region in Ontario, Canada, Uber, right? I can use an app on my phone and get Uber to come pick me up. Another good source of income are scholarships and grants. Yes. And we talk about this with students all the time. There are so many scholarships and grants from companies all over the place that want to help out students who need access to that money. And many of them go unclaimed, if you can believe it. That's crazy.
Do you want me to tell them the story about that?
Go ahead.
So I'll tell you guys, like, honestly, just like Jared said, there's so many bursaries and grants and scholarships that are out there. Please apply to them.
Apply even if you don't know if you're going to get it or you don't think you qualify.
Exactly. We've actually seen where there was one, I think it was an Indigenous, it was for an Indigenous female to apply for the scholarship, but nobody applied. Nobody applied. So a guy applied for it. And because nobody else applied, he got it. Because at the end of the day, it was financial need that he needed, and the money was there. So please reach out to your local career development offices, whether it's your on-campus locations or if you're still in high school, go to your career development there, go to your government websites, even RBC has scholarships, tons of scholarships out there. So don't be afraid to apply to them, grants and bursaries, because you never know when that money might be able to help you get through your education.
Yeah, and I know some people are fortunate enough to have an RESP. So in Canada, that's a savings and investment vehicle. Someone fortunate enough to have a friend, family member, parent, someone set up an RESP, Registered Education Savings Plan for them. That can form a portion of your income money going into your account. Student loans, earning money from investments we talked about. Selling things on Kijiji, that's me. I've been simplifying my life, getting things out of my house that I don't want. If anyone's watched the TV show Marie Kondo, she's an organization expert. I'll sell stuff on Kijiji, Craigslist, whatever that site is. Facebook Marketplace. Consignment stores. There's a store in North America called Plato's Closet. You can sell gently used clothes to them. I do that all the time. I'm trying to simplify and streamline my life. So that can be money going in my bank account. Birthday money, money from your parents, friends, family, email money transfers. We know for lunch, we're going to split that. Lots of international students will do a wire transfer. So they land in Canada. They've had money sent from overseas to land in their bank account. In Canada, it is tax season right around the corner. So tax refunds, here's hoping.
Everybody loves a tax refund.
Yeah, so that forms your income and money that's going into your account. But Fabiana, why don't you talk to us about where does our money go ultimately?
Where's your money going, guys? Let's face it, the money goes into the account, and then sometimes we get into, you know, that mode with our debit cards or credit cards, and we just go tap, 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 and then there you go, it's gone. So, you know, it's really important to understand that we've all been there. We've all had that empty pockets feeling. So in order to really get a hold of that, we need to understand, where is my money going? So you need to sit down, you need to look into your bank accounts, you need to look at, where is all the spending going? Is it going to rent? Is it going to tuition? Is it going to groceries? Is it going to your coffees? You know, just be honest with yourself when you're making your budgets, guys. You're not really fooling anyone else, right? You just really got to be super important that you're keeping concise, that you're looking at those things, and you're making sure that you're being true to yourself so that you set yourself up for success. And I know that could be hard at the beginning, but we all can do it, and you can all get there. And if you need help, you can always reach out to a friend or a family member that you trust, or go in to see an advisor at your financial institution, and they can work through that with you.
And I always say, you know, you're going to walk away from a budget conversation happy for one of two reasons. You're either on track already,
yep,
or maybe you're not on track, but at least now you know it.
Yes.
That's the best part about it. When you're being honest with yourself, and you're actually going through a list like this and saying, okay, here's where I'm actually spending my money, and you're categorizing it, you're going to walk away feeling more confident and comfortable talking about your finances. So
it's okay. Like, if you want to have those like indulgence, like you really like that Starbucks, as long as you've created all those expenditures as to things that are super important, if that little bit of leftover is your treat, then that's your treat, right? We're not saying you can't have a life. All right.
So moving on, we will do, so those are maybe some of your needs. Okay, well, what about, again, where do you want your money to go? That's another category we kind of build in here.
That's the wants. So we talked about where it needs to go. Now we got to look at, where do we really want it to go? So some of us, it might be to go to that trip, that spring break, girls' night out, guys' night out. Maybe you guys want to go to the movies. I mean, we all want to have a life, right? Outside of those things that we have to pay for. And that's okay. I think what's really important is that you really need to target in on what those goals are that you've set for yourself, so that you can start putting little envelopes. They can be digital envelopes. They can be like, we have e-savings at RBC where you can earn a little bit of interest. They're free to have. And that's money that you can put away and sector it off for where you want your money to go. Those can be short-term goals. They can be medium-term goals. And those can be long-term goals. Like, maybe you want to buy a house one day. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to retire at some point, right? So write down what those goals are so that you have something to focus on and work towards.
We did a poll for this one too. We asked participants, do you have any goals or something that you are saving for? 92% of people told us that I had a goal, I had something I was saving towards, something I was working towards, a pair of shoes, that trip, the new phone case, shop, whatever that looks like for you, saving for school, down payment for that house. 92% of our respondents had a goal that they were working towards, and writing it down kind of helps make it real. I know there's a financial expert in Canada, Gail Vaz Oxlade, and she actually puts people on a cash diet. Yes. So there will like literally be glass jars, and they'll put the label on it, and it will say spring break trip. It's going to say, in your case, Greece or Italy or wherever you're going.
Where I'm going to go. Or you, Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu. And that helps make it real when you actually write it down. So this is where the real fun begins. Okay, this is the inner workings of your budget. So at this point, you're probably starting to build a broad list. You can download a template online. You can create your own in whatever Excel, or if you have an app that you like, you have a broad list. You're gonna have all your sources of income, money coming in. You're gonna have a list of your expenses, both the stuff you have to pay for and the stuff you want to pay for. Those all form your expenses. And I actually build a line in my expenses for my different kinds of saving. So whether that's my rainy day fund, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. In Canada, we have your tax-free savings account. I have a certain amount of money going into that, and I actually build it as an expense that I count on that I have to pay for every month because that's important to me. I want to make sure that I have money put away for some of the goals that I'm saving for, my retirement, all that good stuff, right? Those are your goals for your money. I always treat those as an expense so that I'm treating it as something that I must want to do.
And that's what we call the pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first.
Yeah. And you need to know more than your dollars and cents, okay? We gotta look at those deposit and withdrawal dates. So I know when my paycheck is gonna land, or I know when my government money for school is gonna land. But then when are those withdrawal dates? When is that money coming out against that money that drops into the account? And you have to be aware of the income and expense reoccurrences. So how often does that gym membership come out? Is it twice a week? Is it once a month? Or twice a week? Every 2 weeks, excuse me. Is it once a month? This will help you make sure that you're planning ahead and allocating that money to time when those payments are coming out. We did another poll. How many of our respondents use a budgeting tool or an app? 42%. 42%. So not bad. Definitely want to make sure that everyone has some kind of tool. It could be a pen and paper. Write down all your income, you'll get a number. Write down all your expenses, you'll get a number. Subtract your expenses from your income, and hopefully you're in the positive so that you can make sure that you're putting money away for the things that are most important to you. If you've got an app or a website that you like, I know RBC has a budgeting tool that's published on our public website.
Anybody can use that. You don't have to be with Royal.
Yeah, you can be anyone. So this is an example of a budgeting tracker. If you look on the top third, you're going to see what month you're working on. You'll have your income, you'll describe it, you'll have the amount, what date it's getting deposited, how often it's getting deposited, any notes about that. The middle third of the page, so that'll form all your total income. Middle of the page, you're going to see your expenses. So that can be your tuition, that can be your rent, that can be your car insurance, that can be your car payment, that can be your Netflix, your Amazon subscription, whatever that looks like for you. And any of these companies I'm naming, these are just examples. This isn't, we're not sponsored by them.
No.
We're just letting you know what some of the people that we talk to often have in their expenses column. And before you begin tracking of everything, think of how this is going to contribute to your daily, weekly, monthly buckets. You'll get your total expenses. And then hopefully, again, we take your income minus your expenses. And we want to get that magic number. And ideally, hopefully to the positive. And if it's not, that's okay.
Don't worry about it, guys.
Get back to the drawing board. Now, and this is usually the portion where we would get you to fill out your own budgeting tracker. So if you like and you have the ability, we're going to get you to pause here, list some of your income sources, list some of your expenses, and maybe come back in a moment and we'll see how you did. We'll just pause for a sec for you to wait there. And if you've unpaused, welcome back. I'd love to know how everyone's doing. Again, if you have not ended up in a position where you're in a surplus, that's okay. It might just be an exercise where you have to prioritize some of those things that your money is going towards.
Common situation, guys. Like Darren said, we don't want you to feel bad. Like I said, right there, what if my balance is negative?
Help!
It happens, right?
It's happened to me, right?
It's happened to all of us and the best of us. So like we said, don't feel bad about it. The important thing is recognizing it. That was the whole point of doing the budget, so that you could actually see, am I in the negative? Do I have a surplus, or do I need to find either more places to get money in terms of like those gig economy, or do I need to find a different job that's going to make me some more money? Do I need to do those scholarships, right? So once you know where you stand, then you know what solutions you need to put into place. Another thing that can be really difficult is identifying those essentials. Yeah. So we really want to make sure that you guys are trimming down your expenses by identifying what those essentials are. The ones that you absolutely cannot live without.
So that's our housing.
You need a roof over your head. You need the clothing on your back.
Minimum expenses. So if you've got a loan, you might have a minimum payment. Those are the stuff that you've already pre-committed to that you have to pay for. And that
credit card bill.
That credit card bill, right? That's where you're going to look at, that is an essential. That's something I have to pay for. Again, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm not going to go and spend the money on Starbucks. We use Starbucks. That's your little sweet indulgence, I guess you could say, once in a while.
Once in a blue moon, but for me, it's a tea. So
okay, yeah. Or make coffee at home and take it on the go, right?
Exactly. There's so many different ways, guys. You have that that indulgence that once a week versus 5 times a week, and the rest you can actually just do it from home, like Garrett said.
And at the beginning, Fabiana, you said, you have to have a really honest conversation with yourself and identify, is this a need, a want, is this an essential, or is this a luxury, right?
All right, so we are going to go over some ways that you guys can spend smarter, because sometimes it's not just about trimming down those expenses and identifying those essentials, but it's also about finding the different tricks and tips so that you guys can spend smarter.
Opportunities. Yeah.
Saving opportunities. So if you are a student, there's a lot of places that do accept student cards and give you discounts. So you really want to make sure that you're doing your research in your local areas to see what those offerings are. Sometimes you can just do like a Google search or, speaking to somebody at your local campus. There's also savings apps. Like I use the Flip app. Flip app is great.
Awesome. You type in what product you're looking for, and it'll actually tell you where it has a great price. I know that's in our region.
Yep.
Your region may have something different. Groupon is a great offer too. You can find some of those things in your local community, restaurants, entertainment at this kind of prices, which I really love.
There's also subscriptions, right? Like, so if you have a subscription for like Netflix, if you have one for, Disney Plus or Video Prime, any kind of subscription where you can potentially share that with somebody. Yeah.
I share
mine.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to do that, obviously, with somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
There's also another thing we're going to tell you about, which is something called Butter. So Butter is another RBC venture. It will actually, if you put your credit card through Butter, so you just type in RBC Butter, it will pay you that 1% for putting your subscriptions through Butter, which is fantastic. Cash back. There you go, guys. So there's a way to earn money while you're spending money. There's a lot of, things out there, like there are credit cards, there are optimum points if you're part of Shoppers Drug Mart, which again is here in Canada. There's a lot of point systems and things out there that can really help you find another way to spend and save money to be able to use towards other items.
And then I know if you're an RBC client, for example,
you
see on the screen there what RBC offers. There's a lot of little perks that we have partnered with third-party companies that aren't necessarily directly related to your finance that can help you spend smarter, find unexpected savings, redeem your points, whatever that looks like. So rbcroyalbank.com/RBC offers, or if you're a client, you can link it right through your online banking or mobile services. And then there's a newer one that's RBC X Music, where we get you in front of more concerts, more artists, more of the music that you love with premium offers, sometimes discounts. And one that I know that is great is buying stuff secondhand.
Which I just kind of told you, he goes and takes stuff to Pluto's Closet so that people can buy secondhand and he can get the money for that or go and purchase himself. I have also done that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at how to find more money. So we kind of talked about it earlier about looking into the scholarships and grants and where to find that. Please look into that. Finding a job. So go on to those local websites, like there's RBC. We do hiring. We do hiring for students during the summertime. We have internships, co-ops, and then just regular part-time jobs. Go onto those sites like Jobs Indeed. There's a lot of
Indeed is a great site.
Indeed is a great site. I know I have a lot of friends who have found jobs through there. Using your LinkedIn, guys. If you don't have LinkedIn, I highly recommend downloading it. It's a great networking tool. Once you've created your profile correctly, then you can go in and people can connect with you and you can connect with them, follow companies that you really admire, and don't be afraid to ask them. Don't be afraid to ask, what is it like to work for your company?
And companies post jobs on LinkedIn.
They do.
Job search function where you can look for employment. That can really help you land a job. So finding a great way to find more money too.
Yes, fantastic. Also, investing any savings or money that you have so that it can grow. We talked about that a little bit, about the importance of saving and investing. Have your money work for you. You work hard for your money. Have it work for you. So asking your parents, asking someone if you are in that bind and you're not in a position where you can be working because you're at school, don't be afraid to reach out to parents or family members if they are willing to do that. And of course, most importantly, talking to your financial advisor, guys. Like, that's what we do. We eat, sleep, breathe, bank. We can find and see things that you might not be aware of. So do not be afraid to book those appointments, and we can more than willing to go through those budgets that you've created for yourselves and make sure that, you've crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's, and having those regular touch points with you to help you feel that you're on the right path when it comes to building those finances and growing your net worth.
I know when you're looking at, dealing with an advisor. There's even principles about investing, like there's 5 key things that you can focus on when you're working with that advisor to make sure that if you're doing some of those investments, working with an advisor, trying to build up your net worth, what are those 5 tips and tricks, 5 successful principles of investing?
So actually, Jared brings up a good point. When we did a session earlier, there was a lot of people that were like, okay, like I want to start investing. I want to learn how. Can you give me some advice? So if you do have your pens and you have been following along, please jot this down.
Or send yourself a text if you're on your device.
Yep, that's a good one too. We are in the age of digital. So your first principle is invest early. So it doesn't matter what age you're at, guys. Well, depending on what country you're in, there might be certain ages when you're allowed to invest to make sure that you're age of majority. But once you've done that, please just start. Start the earlier that you do. The person who puts away $20 and they're 20 years old versus the person who's 50 years old and starts putting away, double or triple or quadruple that. The person who was 20 and put it in the same investment versus the person who was 50 and had to put like 6 times more of that money will still never make up the kind of amount of money and time in the market as a person who's 20. So it doesn't have to be a lot, guys. Starting off small and eventually growing that year over year, making sure you're keeping up with inflation. So invest early. So get in the market. It's about getting in it versus timing it. A lot of people get that messed up. And I can tell you, when you look at a 30-year profile of the way the stock market goes, it's really about being in it and not timing it. All right, invest often. So you want to make sure that you're putting that money in regularly. That could be monthly, weekly. I would always say try to set it up according to what your pay schedule is. Yeah. So if you're weekly, then you want to put that little bit of money away into your investment weekly. If it's bi-weekly or monthly or semi-monthly, make sure a little bit of that is paying yourself first and going into that investment and having it grow for you. Why? It's actually cheaper. Yes, you can actually save money because you're going to be able to do something that's called cost averaging. All right, invest enough. So you could be that person who's like, well, I want to retire when I'm 65 and I want to travel around the world. Well, that person's going to have to put away way more money than the person who's like, my retirement looks like gardening in the backyard. Yep. So you first want to make that plan, which is your next item. That's your 4th pillar, is make your plan and stick to your plan. So it doesn't matter what the stock market's doing, guys. Don't freak out. Don't pull out. Stay in it. Keep working with your advisors. They're going to help you hedge that risk if you're meeting with them regularly. And the most important is diversity. So diversification means, diversifying in different countries where your money is, and also can mean diversifying with the different types of monies that you're putting away. So it could be in a mutual fund.
Different risk classes, different secure items, stuff that's invested in stocks, mutual funds, whatever that looks like for you. It's different for every person because every person has different risk tolerance, knowledge, all that good stuff. Talk to your advisor about that. That's some of those principles that they're there to help you with. That's what they specialize in.
So that's your 5 pillars, guys. Invest early, invest often, invest enough, diversify, have a plan, and stick to it.
Well, the question we get asked so often is, well, what does actually a good budget make?
Yeah.
And my favorite answer is, well, it depends. And I know that's not an answer lots of people like to hear, but it's different for every person is kind of the key message here. So common things that are always good to have on your budget, okay? We call it a slush fund, we call it a rainy day fund, we call it an emergency fund. You can allocating 2 or 3% of your income for unplanned expenses. Yeah. And I know at least in my banking, through my mobile, and I just grab my device and I log into RBC Mobile, I actually can open a free electronic savings account. It's called e-savings in our world at RBC. And I can actually just plug money in there periodically, 1 or 2 or 3%, whatever that looks like for you. Everyone's situation is different. Set it up automatically, right? I take advantage of digital and technology so that I don't even have to think about it because I've done my budgeting exercise. I know X amount of dollars has to go into this account on that day. X has to go into this account on that day. X has to go into this account. And I just have it memorize the transaction, do it automatically for me. So setting up that slush fund, emergency fund, rainy day fund, whatever that looks like. And having a savings goal. So actually naming that account Greece. So you're making that goal. Machu Picchu. Whether it's big or small, maybe it's a bike, maybe it's a pair of shoes, maybe it's that date night you want to take your special someone. Actually naming it and having a savings goal, whether it's big or small, and get into the habit of saving, that makes a good budget. Not having your income equally your expenses, that's the red flag, right? If your budget balance is zero, it means you aren't setting yourself up to either have that plan or reach those goals properly. You might have to go back to the drawing board. You might have to do that budget a couple of times, and that's okay. So save small. Maybe that's not your priority right now. Maybe that's going to be coming for you soon. If it's tight, let's make sure all your basics are covered first, and then we move into so make sure all your needs are covered, and then we can move into your wants. Meet with your advisor, develop some strategies. If things are tight, that's okay. We've all been there. Hopefully things will improve, but make sure that you kind of design your own plan because everyone's situation is so different.
Guys, whatever your situation is, however your budget is looking, I just want you to remember that no two budgets look alike, okay? So I know you're going to get advice from friends and family and neighbors, and they're going to tell you what they think you should do, but you really want to tailor it to yourself. And the reason being is so that you stay accountable and you don't ghost your budget. You really want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. And in order to do that, you need to make your goals realistic for you. And you need to make sure that you're trying to achieve the goals that you get excited about. If you're excited about it, you're going to put the money away and you're going to put the effort into it. So kind of block out the outside noise of what everybody does with their own and just focus on what's really important to you. And you don't want to abandon that budget because you worked really hard to create it. You worked really hard. You did all those exercises that Jared and I told you to do, which was being honest with yourself. You work hard for your money. We want to see you achieve your goals. I know you really want that to happen. So there is a lot of ways to help you with that. Don't ignore your budget. It is really easy to get distracted. FOMO, that's fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out, or known as FOMO. We see it on our social media. We see geo-targeted ads. We see signs when you go around your campus or your community. 2-for-1 pizza special. All you can eat wings. All you can eat sushi. It's only $10. We're all going. You're going to go see your favorite band tonight. Tickets are $30. Want to go skiing next weekend? I'm a student. They have a discount, right? We talk about ignoring your budget. It's so easy to get distracted and ignore, no, I planned for that. I've got something else. I've got my other priorities. I've got my basics and my necessities that I have to meet. Again, I use those auto transfers to make sure I'm sticking to it, right?
And don't be afraid to say no. I've literally, as a student, I would call my friend and she would say, Fab, broke. She's like, we're not going out. I said, no problem, girl. You're coming to my house. Let's just do it. Let's just hang out, right? It doesn't always have to cost, guys. So don't be afraid to say no. And if it's somebody that you really care about and you're okay with entrusting with that, just saying, you know what, I can't afford it right now.
They'll understand.
They'll understand.
Totally. So ways to track your budget. Okay? We talked earlier. We have an RBC student budget calculator. We use industry stats to understand what program you're in, what those expenses are actually going to look like. Maybe you're going to use Excel. Maybe you're going to use an app. We did another poll. How many people use budgeting app or tool? We said 42% earlier. Use our calculator. You don't have to be a client. Just Google or whatever your search engine is, RBC Student Budget Calculator, and try it for yourself. Do it with your advisor. Bring it in. Show them you've put in the work, put in the time. Get some recommendations. Maybe you need to save more. Maybe you need to take less later in life, in your retirement. Maybe you need to earn more. So are you at the peak earning potential of your career, or are you just getting started? Are you going to earn more? Do you want to work longer? There's different strategies that you can actually employ to level up and make sure that you're meeting those priorities, and your advisor can actually help you figure those out. Do you want to talk to us a bit about this monitor your money?
Yes. So now you've created your budget, you've got your automatics on. Now you want to be able to make sure that you're being accountable to it. So there's a lot of really great things like alerts. I know with RBC, you can actually set up alerts. So I get a text message the moment money hits my account. Woohoo! Celebration! Who doesn't want the money hitting the account? It's feel good, right? Sometimes, guys, it's psychological. So I put mine set to $1. So anything over $1, I get a text message when it's coming in. But also,
you got a tight budget there.
I do.
Dollar goes out, she gets notified.
I get notified. Yes. So I'm a little bit OCD about it because I really want to make sure that I'm not overspending. Because I know that I can be that person sometimes who has the FOMO. So that's something that I do. You guys can actually go in and set your own alerts and how stringent or flexible you want them to be. Just you want to be, again, honest with yourself. If you know you're somebody who's probably going to spend, and as much as you're like, oh, it's so annoying, I'm getting a text message, a little bit of annoyance now for happiness later, it's worth it.
Delayed gratification, right?
That's
if I'm saving
guys.
that money and I get that good savings built up, that's inspiring to me. I like seeing that
That's
savings
right.
grow. That's my thing. What's Know Me Insights?
Know Me Insights, great question. So RBC has something called Know Me Insights, which is artificial intelligence that actually tracks all of your spending, and it will visually show you and alert you on if you've overspent, let's say, in your shopping or your groceries or your restaurant, or maybe it's your bills. Maybe sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but I'll have bills that are automatically coming out and we don't always pay attention to that. And maybe the hydro company charged us a little bit more than last time. And I go, wait a second. Nobody will tell me you just got charged more than last time. So now I'm going to go and investigate.
And I love that machine learning because it'll alert you to spending habits that maybe you didn't realize you were developing.
Yes.
And it's actually going to put it right up there on your screen. I know, again, it's built right into my RBC mobile app.
Got the phones. We carry them everywhere, guys.
Yeah, and you're never more than a few clicks away from your budget. And it can actually identify savings opportunities. There's a feature inside Know Me Insights called Know Me Find and Save. So it analyzes your inflows of cash, your outflows of cash, and it'll find underutilized savings. So it might take $1 or $2 here, it might take $20 there, or hey, Jared, every 2 weeks when you get paid, there's always $50, $100, whatever that number is, sitting in your account. Doing nothing. And it'll actually take it and put it in a separate savings account for you. So it relies on machine learning to actually analyze and help you find savings opportunities you didn't even know you had.
So, you know what, if you're not with Royal Bank, obviously we'd love to have you with Royal Bank, but if you're not with Royal Bank, please don't be afraid to go see your advisors, see what technologies are available at your own institutions. And the other one is mobile banking and online banking. You guys literally have your finances at your fingertips. You should be able to look those things up and keep track of what that money is. Long gone are the ages of I can't see my money unless I go into a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 traditional branch. You literally have access to this stuff 24/7 at your own convenience, whether it's on a small device or it's on a large device or it's an Apple phone.
Yep.
I don't have one. I know Jared has one. He's not wearing it today, but literally, like Jared said, it's a click away for you to really keep on track of those finances.
When we're talking about ways to save, setting that intention, whether it's nicknaming that account online, whether it's talking about it, it makes it real. Set those automatic transfers. I'm the king of auto transfers.
Me too.
You have it too.
Oh yeah,
it's all programmed. I don't want to think about it. I know how much money I have coming in. I know how much money I have going out. I know I have a chip account and I pre-program all that stuff. And I have the tech do the work for me. I use Know Me Find and Save to look at those savings opportunities that maybe I'm missing once in a while. Again, maybe it's that vacation account, maybe it's that big purchase, something that's inspiring for you. But Fabiana, tell them a little bit, in our world, what this, means to you, people like you and me.
So we're here for you guys. We're here for you. Jared even said in the last presentation, even if you need to reach out to us through LinkedIn, reach out. If you have any generalized questions or anything that you want to learn a little bit more about, and hopefully we can direct you to your appropriate advisors that you're meeting with. But being able to have that in-person contact, it's really important. We know that we've educated you today on a bunch of things that you can do yourself because we wanted to empower you, but that really doesn't substitute from the expert knowledge that you're going to get from an advisor who literally, our jobs are to eat, sleep, breathe, bank. Our email inboxes get inundated every single day, 10 plus emails on things that are changing in the financial world. And we know that you don't have the time to keep up with all of that stuff, which is why we get paid to be able to do that so we can advise you properly.
And then there's even select post-secondary institutions across Canada have RBC on campus. That's what we do. That's where we work. That's our Monday to Friday. Well, actually, even 7 days a week sometimes, depending on what's going on campus.
Yeah, we love it though.
We love it. RBC on campus is a resource for students. We're experienced advisors, specialized in student finances, student life, getting future ready, working through the budget, working through credit, figuring out what is good credit, how do I get it, how do I get ready for the future, how do I look for that job, what skills am I developing now. Really, it's a robust service. So if you think of core banking and then plus, RBC on campus is there for you.
We also have our newcomer centers.
Newcomer centers are popping up across the country. We even have places like at Humber River Hospital. I know we have a meeting place. So you never know where the next place is going to pop up. Even at Sherway Gardens Mall.
We have a mall where RBC is there on your way. You're doing your shopping. Go in, grab some water.
RBC Experience.
RBC Experience, and they can help you with those questions. I mean, you're in the mall where you're going to be shopping anyways. Pop in and have a conversation, right?
So select schools, universities, colleges across Canada. You're really seeing different ways that RBC is interacting with the community, both clients and non-clients. That's why we're here. So make sure that whatever resource it is that you're connecting to, It's your institution. It's people like us. We're here for you. Before you leave today, call to action. Download a budgeting tool. I don't know if we'll be posting a template. We will see. If not, they're out there for you. It's a pen and paper. It's an Excel sheet. It's an app, whatever format works for you. Fill it in, put in the work, do the exercise. It's going to help you. You always walk away from a budgeting conversation feeling happy. I already told you that earlier. Book that appointment with your advisor. Share your budget with your advisor. They'll tell you whether or not there's opportunities for you to maybe improve what you're doing. Really, I want to make sure that you walk away from this budget conversation with those 5 concepts we kind of talked about at the beginning. You know, what a budget is, what money can be used for, how to create your own budget, how you can actually save money. Overall, we want the budget to be your financial snapshot, so you can look at yourself and say, okay, am I on track? Am I not on track? Do I know? Finance is one of those dimensions of wellness that we talk about. You know, hopefully you have that light bulb moment. Maybe I'm a spender, maybe I'm a saver, maybe I have some work to do, and that's okay. Any last thoughts you'd like to share as well, Fabiana?
Yeah, I thought we could tell them about a mantra. I don't know who out there knows what a mantra is. I guess we'll give you a couple of examples of what a mantra is. Have you ever heard of, you know, can you think of one?
You're catching me on the spot here.
I am, I know.
You know,
I do that sometimes, guys.
The good thing about a mantra is it's some words that you can live by. One of our favorite ones in the finance world, I know this is one that you use all the time.
Yep. So we've just set you up for your budget, which means that you know how to save today so that you can choose tomorrow. So if there's anything that you can leave here and have that really stuck in your mind, is save today, choose tomorrow, so that you guys have options. You guys can really make your dreams come true. Like we told you about Sharon Terabassi and Sean Cooper, guys. It really doesn't matter how much money you have. It's how you manage it. And hopefully today we've provided you with all the tools so that you can feel empowered and you can feel better about yourself, and you can work on your budget and be able to achieve the goals that you really want to achieve.
So we would like to thank you for joining us for this info session on Budgeting 101. Thank you for using RBC Prepped. This is all about investing in you, and that's why we've taken the time today to do this broadcast for Budgeting 101. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel confident about your money management. Do the budget, talk to your advisor. We want you to be prepared to build that foundation for your financial house that Fabiana was telling us about earlier. If you have any questions and you're in the area, come say hi. I'm at Wilfrid Laurier University and Fabiana's at University of Guelph. Thanks again, everyone. We wish you well. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you.